The date is July 24th, 2007. We are located somewhere in Syria, attached to U.S. Marines Force Reconnaissance. The terrain is very arid and steep, but the weather is good, which calls for coalition aircraft and other fire support. Blue 4 consists of multiple teams of forward observers, 60mm mortars, and additional air power and artillery. While the Marines are tough with their 2 M16A4s per team, they'll need to take advantage of their numerous fire supports available to them throughout the battle. Op 4 is expected to be a reinforced company of special forces, so I sent up a Humvee to check out the hill. Almost immediately, I start to take fire from some kind of Syrian crew-served weapon. I push up my first echelon of FOs to start getting solid spots on the enemy. Meanwhile, my troops on the left flank continue at a good pace. Upon reaching the top of the hill, my Marines discover that the cruiser weapon is not the only threat, and that there is at least one BMP IFE on top. I immediately start calling in for Excalibur precision missiles for my 155 guns. As I rush more teams to the top of the hill, the engagement starts to develop as I begin to see a second BMP crest. As my FOs push forward, some squeeze off rounds towards the BMP, killing the commander, proving that every Marine is a rifleman. The BMPs are starting to give me trouble, but thankfully I have them lasered, and within minutes, 2 shells crash down. As this is happening, Marines on the left flank put down supporting fire, but they start to have trouble of their own. One of the previously spotted BMPs has pushed up really close to my infantry, but thankfully, like the first, I take care of him with precision strikes. Following the destruction of the second BMP, some of my FO teams reach Syrian entrenched positions and lock in for a good fight. These two pin down a Syrian fire team, giving their teammates time to flank. As I continue to advance, I met with one of the surviving BMPs face to face. I maneuver teams around it, hoping to shock the crew with grenades. They prove stubborn, but some Syrian fire teams retreat, while others stick in for a grueling fight. The Syrians that do choose to fall back are picked off by my left flank. Should be mentioned that the left flank is also dealing with a Syrian T-90, their best tank available. I quickly call in for F-15s to bomb it. They seem to miss. A Syrian platoon counterattacks on the right side of the hill, killing a lot of my FO teams up there. Thankfully, a spotting shell from my 155 missions lands in the midst of one of their fire teams, killing most of them and signaling to my spotters that they can fire for effect, leading to airburst shells decimating the rest of the platoon. With the counterattack stopped, I start to mop up the remaining Syrian forces and prepare to fully take the hill. On the left side, the BMP is still giving me some trouble, so I push some more men up with grenades while continuing my assault. Coinciding with this, I rush Syrian entrenched positions and we exchange grenades, causing casualties on both sides, but I ultimately come out on top. This doesn't mean that this fight is over though, as the Syrians still have more positions at the zenith of the hill. While I'm focused on the center fight, my left flank gets hit by Syrian mortars, causing light casualties and wounds. More importantly though, The Syrian T-90 that survived the F-15 strike just charged through the left flank and is quickly moving up the hill towards the troops that are distracted with the Syrian platoons. The wild T-90 reaches the back of my lines, but quickly turns, heading back down the mountain, so I keep my Marines in combat. The teams that I send to attack the T-90 aren't as lucky, and 2 FOs are wiped out. I am able to neutralize one armored vehicle though, as the troublesome BMP crewmen finally bail out of their vehicle, and are picked off by my Marines that are starting to truly secure the hill. The same story happens when I overwhelm the enemy T-90 with my FO teams, causing them to die a particularly brutal death, shot in the back. Battle is by no means one-sided. I lose a Humvee that's taken out by an enemy ATGM on the top of the hill. I immediately react to this by expediting my attack on the top of the hill, sending multiple FO teams, although this single Marine does most of it himself, using his rifle and grenades to flush out enemy positions. With the ATGM team destroyed, the hill is finally mine. I can now begin the true assault. The hill obstructed a massive Syrian compound, with at least 2 platoons and a T-90 inside, with entrenched positions all around. I immediately call in multiple fire support missions, including my on-map mortars. Before the 60 mic start to come in though, 155s are already targeted, which caused the Syrians to immediately start abandoning their positions. I slightly adjust my missions to account for this, but I still focus my general fire on the combat. My FOs also spot a lone T-90 out in the desert, a giant turret called 2,000-pound bomb. The dirt and smoke from all the shelling makes it impossible for me to see inside the compound, let alone call any more fire missions on it. In the meantime though, I bring up my reserves for the final showdown. Before my howitzers can adjust to it, the first house in the compound is destroyed by one of my F-15's 2,000-pound bombs, killing anybody inside. As the clock ticks, my troops get closer and closer to the objective. I'm confident that I can brute force and take the objective with my fresh FOs that just arrived. Thankfully, I don't even test that theory, as a second bomb from an F-15 demolishes the other building. Following the strike, my opponent ends the battle. I lose 26, he loses 109. Many did not see the sunset that day.